What's good, y'all? Welcome to weeks 3 and 4 of your Kinstretch program. Today, we're gonna be working on spine and continue on our internal and external rotation of the shoulders. So you see we have a little bit more volume today than we did the past couple weeks. Our pels and rails. We're gonna work up to our max safest effort for a couple of sets. We'll get into it. So we'll start with our spinal segmentation. So we'll get into all fours here. So we want to start and end at that lumbar. So we'll start to go into extension, nice and slow. Think like you're pulling those hands and knees close to each other. Head comes up last. Start back at the lumbar. Doing your best to segment one vertebra at a time. Push everything away. 2 more here. Start back at that low back. Move into extension, squeeze, back at the lumbar. Big exhale when you get to the end, push everything away. Last one. Slowly segmenting one vertebra at a time to the best of your ability. And then back at that low back. Exhale. And push everything away. Perfect. Okay, we'll go through 2 neck cars here. So we'll slowly start to drive that chin down. Rotate one way. Drop that ear toward the back pocket as we look up towards that sky. Ear towards the other back pocket. Back down to that starting position. Once more that way, rotate, drop that ear. We're just trying to segment the neck right now, nothing else. Chin to that other shoulder, back to that starting position. Then let's take it right back. Drop the ear toward the back pocket, slowly looking up. Ear towards that other back pocket. Back down to that starting position. Once more, rotate, drop the ear, slowly look up, ear toward that other back pocket, back down to that starting position. Nice. Okay, thoracic next. Let's give yourself a big hug. Remember just to keep that chin right in line with the chest as we fold down. Rotate the whole upper body one way. Slowly start to come up to extension. Keep the core tight so nothing's bleeding to that low back here. All upper back. Good. Once more, rotate. Drop the shoulder blade toward the back pocket. Little extension of the upper back. Shoulder blade toward that other back pocket. Back down to that starting position. And then we'll take it back the other way. Rotate. Drop the shoulder blade back, little extension, shoulder blade toward the other back pocket, fold back to that starting position. Once more, rotate. Let's move it nice and slow in your max pain-free range of motion here. And relax. Perfect. Okay, so we got shoulder cars. We're gonna go through 3 on each side. So we'll start to come up, rotate. Again, keeping that core nice and tight, straight back. Slowly rotate all the way back to that starting position. 2 more here. Up, rotate, drop that thumb down towards the ground, reaching back, and then all the way back. Rotate. Good. Last one here. Just move it nice and smooth. Rotate. Again, just make sure the core is tight. We're just trying to move the shoulder here. And all the way back to that starting position. Good. Switch it up. So let's floss it in, up, rotate, good, straight back. Slowly rotate all the way back through to that starting position. 2 more. Rotate, rotate. You're always leading with rotation through your cars. Again, max pain-free range of motion. If you feel any sticky areas, just make sure you're making that car just a little smaller today. Rotate to the last one. And then take it back all the way to that starting position. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna do some lumbar and thoracic segmentation here. So we'll start first with our lumbar. So what you wanna do is we're gonna block ourselves. So make that cup with your hands. Put that forehead in it. We're gonna go five reps here. So let's slowly start to drive that lumbar down into extension as much as we can. We're holding about 2-3 seconds. Exhale, flex, push everything away. And then back to extension. Each time we're trying to get a little bit more range of motion just through that lumbar. It's fine if some of your other back moves a little bit. Let's go to flexion. But just do your best to just be moving that lumbar here. Back to extension, squeeze, drop that pelvis, and then exhale. Think like belly button towards your spine. 2 more. Extension, really trying to get as much range of motion as we can. And then exhale, push everything away, flexion. Last one. Extend, try to get as much range of motion as we can. And then exhale, flex, push everything away. Perfect. Okay. Thoracic next. So now you're gonna block the lumbar. Sit that butt back as much as you can. Let's drop the head. Exhale. Push everything away, big flexion of the upper back. And now squeeze those hands and knees nice and tight. Extend, head comes up last. 4 more, drop the head. Push everything away. And then extend. Squeeze those lats. Good extension of the back. 3 more, drop the head. Exhale, really exaggerate that flexion here, push everything away. We're very active with every rep here. And let's squeeze, good extension, nice and tight. 2 more, drop the head. Flex. And then let's come back to extension, squeeze. Do your best to keep those arms nice and strong and straight the whole time. Last one, drop the head. Exhale, flex. And last extension, squeeze, biggest one of the day. Relax. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna get a little active extension now. We'll be in our prone position, so right on the stomachs. Okay, so we have a couple options here. We got 4 reps today. Easiest one, you're gonna keep the hands and elbows on the ground. Next, you can lift the hands up as you extend. Next, you can drive the elbows back and actually lift everything up. The hardest is gonna be hands here, all the way up. So just based on how you're feeling today, just stay wherever you feel most comfortable, okay? So we'll start here. Let's take a big breath. We want to think length of the upper back. Drive the hands into the ground. Extend, and we're nice and active at the top. Reaching for as much extension as we can through the upper back. Slowly relax. Okay. Squeeze those elbows nice and tight. Hands come up. If this is where we're at today, extend. Really squeeze the lats. Length through the upper body. Feel that contraction. Control it down. Okay, 2 more. I'm gonna lift on this one, so let's start to drive the elbows. Nice and heavy into those feet. Extend, reach, reach. You're super active here. Control it down. Last one. Drive those feet. Elbows super tight towards the pockets. Extend. Biggest one of the day. Reach, reach. And slowly relax. Perfect. Okay. Last thing for the spine here. We have some flexion and rotation. So let's give ourselves a big hug. Again, we're very active here with every rep. We're gonna fold down. We're gonna rotate one way. So when we get to our end range, we're really trying to fight for as much range of motion as we can here. So feel those lats nice and tight. We'll rotate back the other way. Reach. Reach, really, really tight through the core here. Let's take it back. Rotate, rotate. Really active, trying to fight for as much rotation as we can here. Staying in flexion the best as you can. Rotate, rotate. Really try to push past that barrier you reach here. 2 more each way. Reach, reach, really active. Let's take it right back. Staying flexed up. Really fighting for that max range of motion here. Reach, reach. Last one. And we'll go a couple T-spine cars and get into our shoulders. So here we go. Biggest rotation of the day here. Really feel those lats, obliques working. Last one. Reach, reach, nice and active. And then we'll go right into our thoracic car. Up, back, fold down to the other side. Flex forward. One more here. Rotate. Drop that shoulder blade. Perfect. And then we'll take it right back the other way. Rotate, drop. It's moving nice and smooth. It's very active here. Once more. Rotate, drop. And back to that starting position. Relax. Nice. Spine done. Okay, we're gonna get into our shoulders next. So first base position, do everything on one side, everything on the other. So if you guys have your blocks, we're gonna start in this sleeper stretch for internal rotation of the shoulder. Okay. So find that stretch where you want the elbow slightly under that shoulder. We're gonna drive the hand down towards our midline until we get a nice stretch here in the front shoulder. Make sure you're keeping that elbow and shoulder glued to the ground during this whole series here. Okay, so we're gonna do just one light pause here to start to warm up. And then we're gonna be working up to our max safest range, or our max safest contraction, okay? So let's take a big breath in, trap the air in the belly, and let's slowly start to rotate the bottom hand up into the top hand at 20% max effort. Double how hard you're pushing right now, 40. A little bit harder, 50, and hold. So we just got about 15 seconds here. Just get it nice and warmed up. Last 10, keep rotating up into that hand. Feel that shoulder contraction. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Okay, so max effort here. So really as hard as we can, okay? We're gonna hold each for 10 seconds. We'll have a little recovery, then we'll go one more and we'll get a little active. All right, so here we go. Let's take a big breath in, trap that air in the belly, and let's start to rotate up into the hand once more, 20% max effort. 40, keep pushing, 60, 80. Now here we go, as hard as you can, hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Right to rails. We'll try to rotate the hand, that bottom hand off of the top hand and hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. So we take a couple recovery breaths here. See if you can sink that shoulder down a little bit more. Okay. We got one more set here, max effort. All right, here we go. So next breath in, let's inhale, brace the core, and we'll slowly start to drive up into the hand once more, 20% max effort. 40, 60, keep pushing, 80. Now as hard as you can, hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Rails, try to pull that fist off and hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Okay, so now we're gonna do some eccentrics and lift-offs here, 5 reps each. So if you want to give yourself a little tension through the top hand, you're going to be fighting it down, but you're going to let the bottom hand win here, okay? So let's get a nice little tension. We're going to rotate the hand up. You're giving yourself some feedback from the top hand the whole time as you come up to 90 degrees and then rotate all the way back down, okay? Tension here through the top hand. You're fighting it up, letting that bottom hand win. Make sure that that elbow and shoulder are still staying on the ground here the whole time. 3 more. Good tension. Rotate. You're fighting up. So you should feel a nice contraction through the whole shoulder. 2 more. Rotate. Nice tension through the whole body here. Good. Last one. Tension through the top hand, fight it up, good contraction, and relax. Okay, so now we have one set of lift-offs. Okay, so this is different than what we did the last couple weeks. So you're gonna get to a spot where now you can actually lift off of the hand. Should be about a ½ inch or so. We got 5 reps, then we'll get our axials in, transition to our last base position on this side. Okay, so let's start to drive the elbow, shoulder. We're gonna rotate and lift off the hand, hold for about 3 seconds, and relax. Good tension, lift, hold, relax. Drive that elbow and shoulder, rotate off the hand. You're fighting for as much range of motion as you can here, relax. 2 more. Rotate, rotate, relax. Last one, straight off, rotate, and relax. Nice. Okay, so we have 4 axials here. So it's gonna make that fist, lift that arm up, so you should feel the chest just a small amount. And we're gonna keep that tension as we go internal rotation, so we're nice and active, fighting for as much as we can. And then external rotation. Good. 3 more. Rotate, trying to get as much as we can at the end range. All the way back. Rotate, rotate. Last 2. Reach, reach. You're thinking length through the fist. All the way back. Rotate, rotate. Last one here. Biggest one. Really fight for that max range of motion. And then all the way out. Reach, reach, and relax. Nice. Okay, so now we're gonna transition to external rotation on the same arm. So if you remember where you were set up the last couple weeks for the shoulders, we're gonna be flat on our stomachs now. Okay. So remember, you wanna get to a spot where you can't lift that arm up. Okay, so if you were to try to lift, very minimal. If you can lift the whole bunch, then just make it just a little bit higher. You shouldn't be able to lift. Perfect. Okay, similar workflow here. We're gonna go 1 light set of pails. So whenever we're ready, let's take a big breath in. Brace the core, and we'll slowly start to drive that hand down into the block. 20% max effort. Double that tension. 40. A little bit harder, 50, and hold. So the elbow and fist are driving straight down into that block. 10 seconds here. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, max effort. All right, so we're gonna go as hard as we can, 10 seconds each. Rails, you're trying to lift the fist up. Pails, we're driving straight down. So let's take that big breath in. Brace that belly, and we'll start to rotate down into the block at 20% max effort. 40. Your whole body's driving now. 60. 80. Now hard as we can. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Switch to rails. So drive the elbow. Try to lift the hand up and hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. So just one thing to note on those rails, just really make sure when you're lifting, you're not trying to flex the fist like this. It should stay nice and neutral, so it's all coming from your shoulder. Okay. So let's recover. And then we've got 1 more set here. So let's take that next breath in. Brace the core, and we'll start to ramp pails contraction. So we're rotating down into the block at 20% max effort. 40, 60, your whole body's pushing. 80, now max effort, hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Rails, drive the elbow, try to rotate up and lift. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, relax. Okay, now if you're at your highest point here, you want to get a little space so we can actually lift. Okay, so now you should be able to lift. 5 reps. Each one about 3 seconds. Then we'll get some axials cars. Switch to the other side. Okay, so let's brace the core. Drive that elbow. Rotate up, lift. You're fighting for as much range of motion as you can. Relax. 4 more like that. Drive that elbow. Try to scoop the hand up. You're fighting at the top. Reach. Relax. 3 more here. So your whole body's helping you. Drive everything down as you rotate up. Lift, lift, relax. Last 2. Good tension. Rotate, lift. Really fighting for that range of motion at the top. Relax. Last one here. Straight down, rotate, lift, and relax. Nice. Okay. Let's scooch these out the way. So now we have shoulder axials and cars. 4 axials, 3 cars. Okay, so we're nice and flat here. You're reaching out. We're gonna go as much internal rotation as we can. So drop the thumb toward the ground. External rotation. 3 more. In, rotate. All the way out. Really fighting for that max range of motion here. Straight in. Straight out. 1 more each. Straight in. Straight out. And then let's go right into our car. So up, rotate. All the way back up. Slowly rotate back through. 2 more. Reach. You're really fighting for that max range of motion here. This should definitely feel a little different than those first cars that we did. Hopefully your shoulder's a little fired up right now. Last one. And relax. Whew. One side down. Okay. So now we're going to get back into sleeper stretch. Okay. So the other side. Okay, perfect. So just remember, you want that elbow slightly under that shoulder. Let's bring the fist down towards the midline till we get a nice little stretch in the front shoulder. Okay, ensure that the elbow and shoulder stay glued throughout this entire series. And let's take a big breath in. We'll start with our patellar contraction. We'll slowly start to rotate up into our top hand, 20% max effort. 40, a little bit harder, 50, and hold. So we're just getting nice and warmed up on this side. Give me 10 more seconds. You have a light contraction through that front shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. All right, max effort here. 2 sets, 10 seconds each. So we're really trying to push as hard as we can, all right? All right, so let's give me a big breath in. Brace the core, and let's start to rotate the fist up into that top hand at 20% max effort. 40, 60, keep pushing, 80. Now as hard as you can, hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Right to rails, so try to rotate the fist off of the hand and hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Okay, give me a couple recovery breaths here. We got one more set, and then we'll go right to our eccentrics. Okay, here we go. So give me a big breath in. Brace the core. Let's start to drive, rotate that fist up into the hand, 20% max effort. Double that tension, 40. Harder, 60. Keep pushing, 80. Now max effort, hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Rails, try to drive that fist away from the top hand and hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, relax. Okay, let's go right to these eccentrics. So you're gonna give yourself some tension with the top hand. You're gonna fight this up, but let the bottom hand win. So we're gonna rotate, driving that elbow, shoulder up to 90 degrees. Rotate all the way down. Tension from the top hand through the whole range of motion. Rotate, rotate, all the way down. 3 more here. Good tension through the top hand, fighting it up. Keep driving. Relax. 2 more. Straight up. Rotate, rotate. Relax. Last one. Straight up. Make sure that elbow and shoulder are still nice and glued to the ground. Relax. Okay, so let's get to a spot now where you can lift off of the top hand. You should only be able to lift off again about a ½ an inch here. So it should be relatively hard to lift. So we got 5 reps. So let's start to drive that elbow, shoulder, rotate off of the hand, hold, you're super active, relax. Good tension, rotate, lift, relax. 3 more. Rotate, really fighting for as much range of motion as we can here. Relax. 2 more. Straight up, reach, reach, relax. Last one. Biggest one of the day. Rotate, rotate, and relax. Okay, let's get into our shoulder axials here in adduction. So we're punching up, feel the chest just a small amount, and we're gonna go internal rotation of the shoulder, keeping the height of the fist, fighting for that max rotation here. And then let's rotate all the way out. Again, reach, reach, keeping the height. 3 more. Rotate, reach, reach. If you feel your chest, that's really good here. But still keep that intention in the shoulder as we rotate out. Fighting for max rotation here. Doing your best to keep that arm strong and straight. 2 more, straight in. Rotate, rotate. All the way back out. Rotate, rotate, really fight here. 1 more each. Straight in. Rotate, rotate, biggest one. And then all the way out. And relax. Okay, last base position. So we're gonna go external rotation. So you'll need those blocks once more here. Again, one side is probably gonna be a little different than the other. So just note where you were at our previous weeks. So we get to a spot, again, where you can't lift. Perfect. Okay. So let's start with this light pale contraction here. Just give me a big breath in. And we'll start to rotate that hand or fist down into the block. 20% max effort. Double it up. 40. A little bit harder. 50 and hold. So we've got about 15 seconds here. Keep that tension down in the block for 10. Keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay. So now we have our max effort isometrics here. So let's take a big breath in. Brace the core. And let's start to rotate that fist down once more. 20% max effort. 40. 60. Your whole body's pushing. 80. Now here we go. Max effort. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, let's drive that elbow. Rails. Try to lift. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Couple recovery breaths here. And then we got one more. So here we go. Next breath. Let's inhale. Brace that core. And we'll start to rotate straight down. 20%. 40. 60. Your whole body's at 80. Now max effort. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Right to rails. Drive the elbow. Try to rotate the hand up and hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax. Okay. So let's make that range of motion a little smaller. So now you should have a little space to actually lift. Okay. Again, it should be max about 1 inch maybe. Less is more though. So here we go. Let's brace up. Drive the core, or drive that elbow down. Rotate the fist and hold. Relax. Good tension. Think scoop, heavy in that elbow, lift, fighting for as much range of motion as we can. Relax. 3 more. Brace up, rotate, lift, keep fighting at the top. Relax. 2 more. Straight up, rotate, lift, relax. Last one here. Good tension, lift, and relax. Nice. Okay, so we have our axials, cars, and that'll be a wrap for today. So, think length through that fist, punching out the whole time. We'll go to some internal rotation, so rotate the thumb down. Active, trying to get as much rotation as we can. External rotation, fight, as much range of motion as we can. All the way in, rotate, and then straight out, rotate. 2 more, straight in. Straight out. Doing your best again to keep that arm strong and straight. 1 more each. And then straight out. And let's go right to our car. So up. Rotate the thumb down. Keep rotating, Should be up now. Straight back up. Rotate, all the way back to that starting position. 2 more. Reach. Rotate, rotate. Straight back up. Rotate, really punching out, trying to disassociate that shoulder best we can from the joint. Last one. Rotate, rotate. And then all the way back up. Rotate all the way back through. Nice. That's a wrap for this week, y'all. Appreciate it.